How are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. What brings you in?
Well, I'm just here for an evaluation in order to be clear to go back to work.
Oh, well, what happened?
Well, I was in a car accident.
You were in a car accident?
Yeah.
Were you injured?
I busted up my left wrist and a little bit of my jaw, but I mean, I feel a lot better now, so.
Oh, I'm so glad to know that you're doing okay. Do you have any pain right now associated with this?
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Okay, on a scale from 0 to 10, could you tell me how much pain you're in?
I would probably say a 2 or 3.
Okay, a 2. Is that manageable for you?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. At home, have you been taking any medicine to treat it?
I've just kind of been taking Tylenol.
Okay, Tylenol.
Yeah, and it seems to help.
Well, good. So I saw in your evaluation, your chart from earlier when you were in the emergency room, that when they took your vitals, your blood pressure was quite high. And then this morning when we took it, when you came in, your blood pressure was 168/98. Have you had any issues with high blood pressure in the past?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Have you had any headaches recently?
Yeah, I have, and they usually happen on the weekends.
They do, okay. And my other question I wanted to ask is, do you drink beer, wine, or any other alcoholic beverages, perhaps any spirits?
Yes, I do drink alcohol.
You do, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I did see that you have filled out our audit tool, but how often would you say you have 4 drinks or more in a day?
Probably just about every day.
Okay, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And like I said before, thank you for filling out our audit assessment. It really helps us understand where you are.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And did you have any issues filling that out?
Sorry. No, it was pretty straightforward. I didn't have any kind of issues.
Good, I'm glad to hear that. Would you mind if, would you give me permission if we can go over your score and some of the things that go along with that assessment?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm looking here and it says your score was 27. That's actually quite high. So I've seen on your, damn it, I'm so exhausted. Okay.
You're good. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm good. So what was really concerning to me was that your drinking levels exceeds high numbers weekly. So is it true that you drink daily?
Yep, I do drink almost every day.
Okay. And what positive things have you found helps when you drink?
Well, when I drink, it just helps me de-stress because I feel like my life is really stressful and all the hours I work, and so it helps me to just kind of calm down and relax.
Okay. Is there anything else that you could compare that what alcohol does for you? Do you do any other activity that helps you de-stress?
Well, sometimes I like to go hiking, and I used to do a lot of outdoors activities, but it's been a little bit.
How long has it been since you've done those activities?
Well, it's probably been about a year or so.
A year, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did anything change to make you not stop doing those things?
Well, I've been working a lot of hours, so I feel like I don't really have a lot of time to do those things anymore, so
Okay.
yeah.
So maybe tell me some of the not so good things that happen when you do drink alcohol.
Well, sometimes it gives me headaches in the morning, indigestion. It kind of upsets my stomach a little bit, and I get heartburn, so those are some things that happen sometimes.
How about on the relation sides? Have you had any issues with any work relationships or maybe personal relationships?
Not so much with work really, but my husband does not like it when I go to work, I try to not really let it affect me and just kind of do what needs to be done and not really let it, get in the way. So, but yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that your alcohol intake does not affect anything at work, but it has been affecting your personal relationship with your husband. Am I understanding that correctly?
Maybe a little bit. My boss found a few bottles of gin in my desk at work, and he was a little bit mad at me.
Oh, and you're not fired from this incident?
No, he just told me not to do it again, so he basically gave me a warning.
Okay, and are you willing to follow through with promising that you won't do that?
Yes, I honestly like my job and I really need it to pay the bills, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that story with me. So, has anyone ever mentioned that you've had an issue with alcohol in the past?
No, not really.
Okay.
Start. No, not really, but my friends give me a hard time about not really hanging out with them as much as we used to. We used to be more active outside, but ever since I started working all these extra hours, I feel like I don't really have time to hang out with them and do the activities that we used to do.
Okay, and you did used to hike with your husband too?
Yep, I did.
Okay. And did that all help you de-stress back then with the outdoor activities?
Yes, it did.
Okay. But then when you started working more hours, you felt that you didn't have enough time to do those physical activities anymore, and the alcohol intake kind of replaced those times. Is that correct?
Yes, I definitely drink more than I used to because I work so much and I am so stressed, so that is right.
Okay, how long have you noticed your increase in alcohol consumption?
It's probably been about a year or so.
Okay. And I also see that you lost 15 pounds in a year. Was that planned?
No, that was not planned.
Well, that is a significant amount of weight. You were actually at a healthy weight before this past year, and now you are actually underweight. And your blood pressure is high, and you've never had high blood pressure before this accident occurred. That is something we're going to have to monitor. Overuse of alcohol can cause these problems with your circulation and increase your blood pressure, which causes headaches.
Oh, really?
That it can also cause problems with your stomach and can also decrease the absorption of nutrients that your body needs. So what meal would you identify as one that you normally skip?
Probably dinner.
Okay.
Yeah, I usually drink instead of eating a whole lot. Yeah.
Okay. When you do get a chance to eat dinner, do you finish it?
Sometimes, but sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Okay, well, I do want you to understand that when you increase your drinking, it actually makes you withdraw more from social interactions with people. You just don't want to talk with as many people. Have you noticed this happening to you in either work or your personal life?
Yes, I have been a little bit standoffish. I don't really speak to people as much as I used to. So yeah, I have.
So it sounds like you've been drinking more since last year, and it started when you needed to work more hours, which makes it more difficult to do those physical activities that you enjoy doing. And as a result, alcohol became a substitute, which made you start drinking more.
Yep.
So with the information we've discussed so far, where are you on your desire to make a change?
Well, I obviously know that it affects my health, so I know I need to make some sort of change.
Okay. And you do agree that it's not good for your health?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What information makes you feel like you need to make a change that we've discussed so far?
Probably the fact that my blood pressure was high is definitely not good. The stomach issues I've been having, I definitely don't want to experience that anymore, and I just want to start feeling better.
Okay. And I did admit, has it been affecting your sleep at all? Do you feel like you don't get enough?
Yeah, you know, I do. I have been feeling that way.
Well, that's something else I can actually let you know, that alcohol does decrease that deep sleep that you were used to having, that REM sleep. It,
Oh, really?
it makes it shorter, so you don't sleep as well and your body's more tired. So
Interesting. I didn't know that.
So between you and I, how often do you have hangovers?
Probably a good 4 to 5 days a week, actually.
Okay. So on a scale from 0 to 10, how ready are you to make a change?
I would say probably a 3 or 4.
A 3 or a 4. Okay, that's great. Why not a 0 or a 1?
Well, I didn't choose 0 or 1 because I feel like that would be indicative of someone who does not want to make a change, and so I do want to make a change.
Good. And maybe why not an 8 or a 10?
Well, I am young and I have my whole life in front of me, and so I just have life to live, you know?
Okay. And you feel like drinking alcohol does...
It just kind of helps me,
Okay.
you know, but I do want to get better, but I know that I still like it, so.
So the next step is trying to assess where your confidence level is. How confident do you feel that you could actually make this change and be motivated to make it?
I feel like maybe a 5. Yeah, 4 or 5.
That's great. That's fantastic. Well, I do have some recommendations. Would you be willing to listen to me for a little longer? Great. Well, sometimes making small changes is easier to make than large ones. And when you make those large ones, other things can play factors. Like it's quicker to give up if you make a big change. But we can make a bunch of small ones and keep making those, choosing to make those changes every day. So some examples of small changes, we could maybe prolong that drinking your alcohol when you first come home, and maybe sit down and have a nice meal with your husband before you drink. Is that something you think you could do?
Yeah, I think I could do that.
Okay, awesome. And maybe we could take one drink away from your usual amounts of drinks that you take during the night. So tell me, how many drinks do you normally drink per night from Monday through Thursday?
It's a lot.
Okay.
It's probably a good 4 to 6 drinks a day.
Okay, well maybe just limiting it to 4 Monday through Thursday. And I know you said you drink a little bit more on the weekends, so could you give me an average? Maybe
probably 20.
Okay, well let's bring that down. So is that 20 during
the whole
weekend? Okay.
Yes.
So maybe per night we'll say, let's stick to 5 drinks
on
out
the weekends.
On the weekends.
I think I could do that.
You do that? Great.
Yeah.
That sounds good. And another thing that we really want to make sure is when you're watching what you're putting into your body. We gotta make sure we are eating well, because losing 15 pounds when you're not wanting it to, that's a cause for concern. So let's make sure that what you're putting in is fueling your body and fueling it well. And maybe after, when you do come home and eat with your husband, your body's actually be more full of the nutrients that you need before we put alcohol into our bodies. Does that sound okay?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
And maybe even on Fridays, you could set a goal to have a morning hike with your wife, or with your husband.
Yeah, that's my husband.
And then that way you won't drink that much on Friday night, and then you'll have a nice hike to look forward to Saturday morning. And that could even to cut back your drinking time during Saturday. So, and you'd be doing something that you used to enjoy doing.
I used to like doing, yeah. That sounds like a great idea.
Good. And does it all sound reasonable, what I've suggested?
It does. Yes,
Good.
thank you.
Now, maybe would you be willing in 2 weeks to come back and have a conversation to see how you're doing with the suggestions we've made together?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And I'll schedule that for 2 weeks out, but maybe in 1 week we could get you an appointment with a doctor and maybe a nutritionist to make sure we can check on that high blood pressure, and also
Definitely.
making sure you're eating what you need to. Okay, is that so? I can set those appointments up for you?
Yes,
Good.
that would be great.
Good. Well, I wanted to thank you so much, Liz, for coming in and talking with me. Can I answer any more questions for you?
No.
Wow, your hands are cold.
I know.
Well, it's so good seeing you. Thanks again
Thank
for
you
coming
so
in.
much. That was really helpful.
Good.